I am Stephen Dedalus. I am walking beside my father, whose name is Simon Dedalus. We are in Cork in Ireland.
So many people think that James Joyce only wrote about Dublin. However, there's a small section at the beginning of Portrait of the Artist where the young Stephen Dedalus accompanies his father to Cork to sell the property that they own there. This section in Portrait is based on something that really happened in Joyce's life. His father was from Cork. He was born into a wealthy Cork family and they owned property there. But over the years, John Stanislaus had managed to drink his way through the inheritance, and it was now time to sell the mortgaged buildings. In 1894, he was 12 years old when he spent 4 or 5 days in Cork with his father. They visited the university where his father had studied medicine. He followed his father around all the different pubs and met characters in Cork.
They entered the grounds of the college and were led by a garrulous porter across the quadrangle. They passed into the anatomy theatre where Mr. Dedalus, the porter aiding him, searched the desks for his initials.
He follows his father around the city, going to visit old haunts, and his father puffing himself up and saying what a wonderful young man he was in Cork. This is all a completely different world that he doesn't know about his father.
The leaves of the trees along the Mardyke were astir and whispering in the sunlight. A team of cricketers passed, agile young men in flannels and blazers, one of them carrying a long green wicket bag. From another window, open to the air, came the sound of a piano, scale after scale, rising into the treble. Stephen walked on at his father's side, listening to stories he had heard before, hearing again the names of the scattered and dead revellers who had been the companions of his father's youth.
This week with his father, where he really becomes a young man, is portrayed by Joyce in Portrait of the Artist. He makes his character a little bit older, a little bit more formative. He also sees his youth slipping away from him, realising that from now onwards their life is going to be harder, less comfortable, things are going to change. So thinking about where the Joyces actually lived in Cork, I've been exploring on the south side. There is a plaque on a footpath that says that his grandfather resided in that house at some time, but I'm finding it hard to find out where John Stanislaus himself was born. Why is there no reference to Joyce's father, who was so proud of being from Cork? Now I'm on my way to meet local historian Ronnie Herlihy. He might have some information for me.
So I was looking at the records of the South Parish for the date that I was given for John Stanislaus's birth. I couldn't come up with anything for a John Joyce or a John Stanislaus Joyce, but I did find on that particular date the birth or the baptism record of the James Joyce with the right parents, right period, right date. So it appears that he wasn't christened John Joyce, he was actually christened James Joyce.
Ronnie has told me to search for James, not John Joyce, in the records. So now I'm on my way to St Finbarr's South Parish Church in Dunbar Street.
This is great. I have a photocopy now of the Register of Births, 1849, obviously registered on the 6th of July, and the reason we couldn't find it was that John Stanislaus was actually baptised James Joyce.
It's often overlooked that the Joyces were from Cork, and that Joyce himself had this lovely Cork lilting accent that can be heard in recordings.
Well, you know, don't you tell it, or haven't I told you? Every telling has a tailing, and that's the he and the she of it.
Joyce never really let go of this idea that he had this Cork connection. obviously felt quite close to it. In fact, there's a story that Frank O'Connor, the Cork short story writer, went to visit him in Paris and saw a watercolour painting of a Cork setting, and he said, "What's that?" And Joyce said, "It's Cork." And he said, "Yes, I know, but what's the frame made of?" And he said, "Oh, that's Cork too."